Now, I had promised people that I would tell why I approved of Linda Thompson being on the air, and that was supposed to be after the 19th, and she didn't do the march, which I knew she wasn't going to do anyway. But I was on at that 10 o'clock Central Time spot, and nobody could hear me, so I'm going to do it over again for you now. Got a call. Hello, Kurt here.
When are you going to talk about Linda?
Well, I tell you, since I got you on and since it's your nickel, I'm going to talk about her right now.
Okay, what were you going to say about her?
Well, don't ask me what I'm going to say when I'm about to tell you what I'm going to say.
Oh.
Jack, you're silly. Okay, anyway, as I promised the folks, if after her appearance in Washington, D.C., the 19th didn't come about, which of course everybody knew wouldn't, then I said that I would talk about her and tell why I approved of her being on the radio. Now, first of all, for people who aren't really aware of what she was up to, I will read just a very short part about this alert thing that she sent out several months ago. She says, the Declaration of Independence of 1994 is being distributed nationwide for signature, including airdrops over cities. It will be delivered by the militia in September 1994 to the White House. The attached ultimatum was sent by certified mail to every member of the U.S. House and Senate by April 21, 1994. All militia units will convene at 8 a.m. Monday, September 19, 1994 in Washington, D.C., armed and in uniform to deliver the Declaration of Independence to the White House and to enforce the ultimatum. The militia will arrest congressmen who have failed to uphold their oaths of office, who then will be tried for treason by citizens' courts. Police and military. We have support from many state, city, and county police agencies and U.S. military. This is the country and the Constitution that all of us have sworn to uphold and defend against all enemies, and the enemies are corrupt leaders who have duped our police into being cannon fodder to disarm America. While these same corrupt leaders have reduced our Army strength from 18 division to 11 and sent them out of the country to weaken our numbers, it goes on and on with a lot of silliness. But of course, the idea to assemble a group of militia in uniformed and armed in Washington, D.C., and then start arresting politicians was so bizarre that I don't think anyone in his right mind actually believed she was serious. Of course, she wasn't serious because she backed out. She gave several reasons for backing out. When she came on my program, she said that if the crime bill passed, then she would not do the thing, and said, well, it seems like it would be just the other way around. If the crime bill does pass, that would be the time to march. She said, no, because then there would be war. Well, of course, the crime bill did pass. There's been no big outcry about it. It didn't amount to anything anyway. It was a boondoggle. There was no arms ban. The only thing that was banned was the manufacture of new guns among those 19 categories. And who cares, because there's millions of such guns in circulation, and they will stay in circulation, and they'll be owned by the people who own them unless they find a sucker to buy them for 3 times what they're worth. But all Linda wanted was attention. She had no intention of carrying out such a farce, and of course I doubt if she could have gotten 3 guys stupid enough to take arms into Washington, D.C., much less try to arrest a congressman. The whole thing was a publicity stunt. It didn't make any sense. And then she also sent a rambling letter out to certain people, and one of those people sent it to me, and it goes on for 7 pages, and it's just sort of mind-boggling because in all of the 7 pages she doesn't really explain why she backed out. It's just well, it's a lot of silliness as far as I'm concerned. But I picked off a part here from this letter, which I'm going to read to you. The call for the militia and the resulting mobilization has occurred also forced the opposition to reveal several tactical deficiencies on their side. Well, I doubt if many people in Washington were at all conscious of her, and I'm sure that the agencies she might be talking about didn't get about to make any preparations for such a march on Washington. But anyway, she goes on to say, the most revealing, obvious, and glaring deficiency on their side that was exposed through the course of public debate of this dumb idea is that they cannot put down a large group of people, period. Of course, now this goes against everything she and William Cooper and Chuck Harder and Tom Valentine have been talking about a new world order, and where are the UN troops that would be doing this? See, I mean, they act like there's such strength to squelch anything like this, and now here she's saying that there is no such strength. She goes on, they do not have the ability, they lack the sheer numbers and manpower and the training, and they have stretched their assets too many places. Additionally, they are not sure, and rightfully so, if they can count on the U.S. military to back them up or to fire on U.S. citizens, and they can't. That's her words, that they can't. Lastly, they do not have the UN troops to do it either. If they use UN troops, if they could, since those troops don't train well together, don't speak the same language, use the same signals or equipment, and overall work together like the Keystone Cops, then they will most certainly lose the support of the majority of the U.S. military the first time a foreign troop kills a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. In other words, they are screwed either way they go, whether they call up our military or UN military to put down the militia. So here she's giving the lie to everything that these conspiracy cultists have been telling everybody. And of course, I've been giving it the lie too, because it is a lie. You can't prove a lie. And but also, now one of my readers or one of my listeners, Robert from North Carolina, sent me a copy of this foolish questionnaire that so many people have called up and talked about as if it were some sort of governmental gospel. You know, will the U.S. troops fire on American citizens? Well, Robert was nice enough to send me a copy of this, and I didn't even have to read it before I realized that it was phony. Because, for instance, it's supposed to be a government document, yet there is no government named on it. There's no Congress, military, or whatever. Like if you get the poor man's James Bond, you'll see that there are several government reprints, and it shows what department of the Army printed it, and even the officer in charge of the project, and the date. And I've got just piles and piles of government information, and every piece of it purporting to be from the government has the government agency, the person who sponsored it, the date. But this has nothing. This is just a thing that's printed out. Now, what Robert says about this, I'll read you a short paragraph where he described his impression of it. The Combat Arms Survey is circulated by Thompson. It is unauthenticated, and she lists no source. I can find no evidence that the military or any government office generated these questions. Note the very last item in the survey. It is a dead giveaway. Well, that's right, Robert, it is. I went through this silly thing. I'm not going to read it all, just read a few points here. It's the Combat Arms Survey. And incidentally, anyone out there who has gotten a copy of this and who thinks it's from some government agency, you better go check your premises, because it's silly. This questionnaire is to gather data concerning the attitudes of combat-trained personnel with regards to non-traditional missions. All of your responses are confidential. Write your answers directly on the questionnaire form. In Part 2, place an X in the space provided for your response. Incidentally, there are no spaces for responses, and it's got certain things like what service are you in, what is your pay grade, what is your MOS code and description, what is your highest level of education in years, and blah, blah, blah. And it has some really silly things. Do you feel that U.S. combat troops should be used within the U.S. for any of the following missions? Drug enforcement, disaster relief, hurricanes, floods, fires, quakes. And it goes on like that. And then down on number 16 is advisors to SWAT units, the FBI or the ATF. Now, can you imagine soldiers being asked by the SWAT units or the FBI or the ATF to advise them? They don't take anybody's advice. They don't even take advice from their own leaders. Then it just goes on, and I don't have time to read it all. But then the last part that Robert feels is relevant, and I do too, it was the reason the whole thing was made. It says in item 46, the U.S. government declares a ban on the possession, sale, transportation, and transfer of all non-sporting firearms. A 30-day amnesty period is permitted for these firearms to be turned over to the local authorities. At the end of this period, a number of citizen groups refuse to turn over their firearms. Consider the following statement. I would fire upon U.S. citizens who refuse or resist confiscation of firearms banned by the U.S. government. Well, you see, this is the meat of the whole thing. This is why all of the foregoing nonsense was written, because there is a group of people out there who wants to frighten people into thinking that the government wants to take away their firearms, and so they made up this, this silly questionnaire was made up to reinforce that fear. However, regardless of what all of these conspiracy phonies tell you, there has not been one government pronouncement to the effect that the firearms of law-abiding citizens would be taken away from them. Never once. Never in all of the years. They just go on and on and on and on about it, but they won't tell you where it's from. They won't tell you who said it. They won't show you the document telling about it. And this is too big to be hidden. And they've been going on about it for years and years, and the bigger it gets, the more impossible it is. Like when in the 60s, when Senator Thomas Dodd made the most restrictive gun legislation since the banning of the silencer and the Tommy gun, there was about 40 million guns in the United States owned by civilians, and now there's 210 million at least. So if they're going to do it, they better do it, but the thing is they're not going to do it because it would be impossible. But still, these people want you to think this way. It's nonsense. You ought to examine your premises because it's too big a job for them to do. The American soldiers wouldn't participate in it because that's not their job. There's not enough ATF men or FBI men to do it. The SWAT teams wouldn't do it. There'd be too high a casualty rate. And it's okay if you make a police sweep through a Chicago housing project where there's nothing but dopers and thugs, but you start going down the tree-lined avenues of small-town America, and you're going to have such a revolution you wouldn't believe it, and they know this. See, the guy that called me the other night, he made a great point without realizing it. He was telling me how that there was UN troops from Korea stationed in either Montana or Wyoming, I forget. Okay, now I don't know why the Koreans would donate their troops to be over here when we've got 35,000 to 50,000 American soldiers in Korea. But at any rate, he was, I didn't have time to answer him because the program was nearly over. However, one of the main things that these conspiracy phonies do is to postulate something that the politicians want and then give you the idea that if they want it, they're going to get it. Okay, now, for instance, say you want a Rolls Royce, brand new, like $150,000, and you're going to have to do something drastic to get it because you don't have that kind of money. Well, you're going to steal it and go to jail? No, you're going to just forget about it. So when a politician comes up with an idea that can't be put forward, he just forgets about it because it's not practical. Anything that a politician today comes up with, like disarmament, or one thing or another, you could probably feel that, use your imagination. If it's going to take drastic measures, they'll talk about it and then they'll put it aside because they can't do it. But what these conspiracy phonies say is that this and that politician said thus and so, and it would take drastic measures to get that enforced. Therefore, they're going to bring in the UN, they're going to do this, that, and the other thing. And see, that's where the lie is. Now, you watch your President Clinton. When he was in Arkansas for governor for 12 years, he never did anything. He proposed all kinds of things, but he never did them. When he was going to be elected for president, he proposed all kinds of things, but he never did them. He proposed the big health care bill, but of course there was just too much money involved, so he didn't do it. See, the Congress and the Senate won't let these other politicians do anything that's going to be drastic, cause social turmoil, and put them out of office, or cost too much money, which would put them out of office, because all of the politicians are in office to stay in office. So they're not going to rock the boat. And there's nobody in any other country that has the guts or the arms or the personnel to do it for these politicians. So just don't worry about this. Don't swallow these lies. Anyway, Linda, getting back to Linda Thompson, the reason I was glad to have her on was, and I was glad that she was on the radio, was that she would take these exaggerations and these rumors presented as facts, and she would exaggerate them further, making them so absurd that unless a person was really mental defective, he would finally catch on to the fact that these conspiracy phonies were just that. They were phonies. They just want a flock of sheep to shear. And they're getting your money that way. But so that's why I approved of her. And I'll repeat it. I approved of her because she was taking their stories, their lies, and making them so silly and absurd that only someone who was mentally ill could accept it. So that's why that I was happy that she was on the air, and I'm sorry she's gone, and bless her heart, I hope she does well.
The test of time is possibly the greatest testimonial to a product or company's greatness. And for 86 years, Mr. Victor Samuel Johnson's amazing invention continues its legacy. The Aladdin incandescent kerosene mantle lamp has been lighting American homes for 3 generations. In rural farmlands of America, they were the constant source of dependable and economical everyday lighting. The magic to the Aladdin lamp is the mantle that incandesces like an electric light while using no electricity. You can have dependable, economical lighting for the future without depending on any utility company. At 98% efficiency, they burn odorless with the equivalency of over 36 candles, while fuel costs are less than what you'd spend on a single candle. They start pricing at under $40. Send $1 to receive an information packet. Send it to Modern Solutions Incorporated, 1325 West Main Street, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. Your dollar will be credited on any purchase. That address again is Modern Solutions Incorporated, 1325 West Main Street, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. You can be sure you'll enjoy reading your Survivor series no matter what befalls your electric company.
Okay, here I am again. I don't know if you can hear me because the transmitter is really messing up tonight. At any rate, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Send in $1, get your catalog. It'll teach you all kinds of things. It lists all of my books and tapes, which will teach you all kinds of things to prepare for the real collapse rather than these conspiracy phonies' lies. And you'll get a kick out of it. And, of course, the dollar is refundable on your first order. Also, you might like to just jump in with both feet and send $15 postpaid for the Shoestring Entrepreneur, which teaches you how to sell anything you can make or grow. And you start out with the first 2 issues. You get the rest as they come out, and you'll also get free 6 back issues of the periodical The Survivor. Or else, if you want to get the U.S. militia, the main stories that I read, or at least the Clarence stories that I read all last week, then that's $35 postpaid. You start out with the first 4 issues. And, of course, either subscription gets you 10% off on all my books and tapes. Hello, Kurt here.
Oh, hi, Mike from Cleveland. Yeah, I suspect that you're not getting out real good tonight, and I think it's the transmitter or the antenna system down there.
Yeah.
Let's see, Wednesday last week, about 45 minutes into the program, there was a loud pop, and the signal fell from, full scale right down into the noise. I do believe it was Thursday. The same thing happened about 25 minutes after, and I strongly suspect that that's not propagation. I think they got a bug in their transmitter or something.
Well, I'm going to call them and tell them tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. When was the last time you tried distilling some ammonia, by the way?
Well, when I wrote that story...
Okay, so it's been, say, about a year or so?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've been having some problems. Now, I've done this before and didn't have any problems before, but the last batch of ammonia I tried to distill, I don't think there was 2 or 3% in the solution from the store. I think it was running about 7% before that.
Well, regardless, you see, when you put it in the light bulb, when it stops flowing quickly, see, and it just turns into a very slow trickle, then you've got effectively all the ammonia you're going to get, and so don't bother with it anymore.
Yeah, right.
You might even from about 4 ounces in a light bulb, you might get about 2 or 3 teaspoons full.
Yeah. Actually, with the stuff I was trying to distill, I'd be lucky to get that much.
Well, that store-bought stuff is very weak. It's just for cleaning. If you want the real stuff where you don't need to bother distilling it, go to a hospital. Go to a pharmacy near a hospital. They usually carry ammonia 37%. And that's for hospitals. But they'll sell it to anybody because it's not on the restricted list. Okay,
or
about $5 a gallon.
Well, they used to have it at Blueprint shops too. 27% solution. Yeah. Actually, I've started making my own solution with ammonium sulfate from the garden store and some sodium hydroxide.
Yeah.
Let's see. You use 132 grams of the ammonium sulfate in about 200 milliliters of water. Or 200 grams of water, doesn't make millibeans difference between the two. And then very, very slowly, like over a period of about 2 hours, you add the sodium hydroxide, 80 grams.
Yeah.
About a half a teaspoon at a time with a lot of shaking, and you may even want to have it in ice bath because, boy, that, of course, it heats up as you add the sodium hydroxide.
Yeah.
So, and that's just common everyday lye. I buy mine down at Drug Mart. They've got all sorts of interesting chemicals down there.
Yeah.
Like the chlorinator at 75% calcium hypochlorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about ammonia, though, not chlorine.
Well, yeah. By the way, you do realize that you don't have to use iodine to make ammonium, the nitrogen triiodide stuff you make. You can make a similar material with chlorine in ammonia, except it's liquid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's nitrogen trichloride.
Well, what happens then?
Well, it's liquid, but it's an extremely sensitive liquid. I haven't made it myself. I have read up on it a little bit. It's probably a little bit more difficult than even you would probably want to tackle. I think it requires anhydrous ammonia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that could get to be interesting. Although, if I was going to do it, I'd generate it in place. I'd generate a bunch of chlorine gas and a bunch of ammonia in say in a room or something, government office or whatever, and the oily, thick oily liquid would just accumulate on all the horizontal surfaces.
Yeah.
So, anyway, great program, great books. I really appreciate what you're doing here.
Well, thank you a lot, Mike.
Okay, and
I'll have Adam listen to tonight's tape so he can hear your explanation, because I know, you see, he's told me that they don't do anything at the transmitter, but maybe he doesn't know.
If it's an antenna element coming loose or something even heating up on the antenna element, you know, it depends on what sort of power they're running and how heavy duty their antenna elements are and the various components. It could just be something gets up to a certain temperature and clicks over, or it's shorting out from humidity or something like that. It probably isn't in the transmission line, although it might be, because they'd notice that at the transmitter on their meters and gauges and stuff.
Yes.
So,
well,
yeah.
they ought to have a radio, or no, maybe they couldn't. Well, you see, I've got my shortwave radio here, and it picks it up the way it's coming through to Arkansas, and tonight it's not coming through at all. Listen just a minute.
Yeah.
See, now I can...
yeah, Northern Ohio, you've got about the same reception.
Yeah. Oh, that's the kind of reception you're getting?
Yeah, the kind of reception.
What state are you in again?
Ohio, Northern Ohio.
Okay.
A lot of the stations, like Deutsche Welle and so forth, actually have remote listening posts where they actually have a remotely tuned receiver, and they can actually dial the thing up from the studio location and you know, monitor whatever signal they're getting here, there, or the other place on whatever frequency they happen to be on. But yeah, it just, you know, if it were propagation, it would tend to fade out over a period of time. But it just, you know, there's a loud pop and it drops down into the noise level. It sounds, you know, I've got two shortwave receivers here, and you know, same thing on both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Okay,
anyway, I guess
I'll tell Adam to listen to tonight's tape so that he can hear your comments, because you're a professional man.
Well, I try to be.
Okay,
Electronics is only a hobby, but, you know, I'm deep into it. So.
Well, if you know, you know. That's all that matters.
Yeah, okay, so I will let you get going. Somebody else probably needs to get through, so.
If they can hear me.
Yeah, if they can hear you.
Okay,
well, you know, just stick with it. It's, you know, it's something that they'll eventually get around to fixing.
We'll get better.
Okay.
Okay,
bye-bye.
buddy. Bye-bye. Number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Now, for $18, if you're not a subscriber to either of my publications, you can get either the Poor Man's James Bond or The Survivors, plus $4 postage and handling, because they're large books. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Chuck in Washington.
Hi, Chuck. Are you hearing me at all?
Yeah, very well.
You hearing me very well in Washington?
Yeah, it must be a path.
Okay.
Sometimes that happens. The only thing is there's a real annoying hum in the transmission.
Yeah?
Yeah. Usually I haven't heard it, but I have some good radios here, and I can't get rid of it in any radio I have.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something to do with the transmitter. It's just a loud hum.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll talk to Adam about that tomorrow.
But, yeah, the previous gentleman was talking about distilling ammonia, and what I do is I always make sure to get the clear, it's non-colored, and no suds. You can get it without the soap in it.
Well, in my Walmart in Harrison, I can't. It's all sudsy.
Even in any of your grocery stores down there?
Well, this is Arkansas.
Oh, okay, because I just, well, see, our grocery store is in Washington. We have all kinds of choices, so
Yeah.
so I can get it without the soap, and it's clear. And what I do, I distill a whole bunch of it at one time. I'll probably put about 16 ounces in a jar, and then maybe after I get an ounce out, I'll stop. And when I take a breath and I can't breathe, I know it's good.
Yeah.
So, but I almost killed my dog doing it. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it still blew up. So almost killed myself too. So, anybody out there trying, make sure that the glassware, if you're using glassware,
Yeah.
that it's Pyrex, because I wasn't using Pyrex, and that thing took off, and
Well, Clarence did it in a
light bulb.
Yeah. You're a subscriber?
Yeah, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he used like a double boiler technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see, if you're just living in a sleeping room and you got nothing but a hot plate, you've got to be very simplistic with it.
Right.
That's the joy of Clarence.
But what happened was it was sitting on the kitchen counter, and when it blew, I mean, I'm talking at least 10 square feet of ceiling got soft with the stuff, and the dog is very quick, so he got out of the way.
Oh, I guess so. I bet there'd be quite an ammonia smell there, too.
Yeah, at least the house smells better, so.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
When's number 5 coming out?
Well, as soon as I reprint the chemistry book. This has been a slow season. I've been having so much radio problems. Not enough people hear my program to get my books.
Yeah, how about...
I was hung up on WRNO. My contract, he wouldn't let me out of the contract, even though I wasn't getting anywhere near the listeners that he promised me.
Right.
And he was charging me more money, too. And, see, it's when people get on the radio to sell a service or a product, if people don't want it, okay. But if people can't hear it, well, that makes a difference. Or if there aren't the listeners out there. I mean, WRNO led me to believe that they had full coverage, wide coverage, and excellent reception, and neither was true.
Right.
And maybe the guy who told me that didn't realize that, or maybe it was just wishful thinking on his part. But anyway, I was into paying thousands of dollars for practically nothing, and otherwise I would have had, if WWCR had been able to put me on the 7 o'clock slot so I didn't need to go to WRNO, then I would have had the chemistry book paid for. But see, this is a kind of business.
Right.
I do have a message. I got a cause and all of that. But
well, I'm trying to help you out because I post bulletins on the electronic mail services on the bulletin boards, people in the shortwave and that thing, and let them know what time you're on. And I kind of lost you for a week or two. I guess you just came back at this time.
Yeah.
But Adam,
well, I was on WWCR for several weeks,
and
it just wasn't coming in. It was at 10 o'clock Central. I would be 8 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't going through.
Right. But even Adam Locke is on Prodigy, if you're familiar with Prodigy. And
no, I don't. What's Prodigy?
Prodigy is a bulletin board service for computer users.
Oh.
Anybody with a computer. You hook it to the phone line, and they have about 2 million subscribers. And
well, maybe I could get on that.
Oh yeah, you would.
We've got a computer.
You would do great on it. But you know, it's just bulletin boards to send messages to people interested. And you know, I put a subject for you up there, and a few people answered that they listened to you.
How much does it cost to get on it?
Oh, like $12 a month. Yeah.
Well, do you have to have any special equipment for the computer?
A modem.
A modem, how much does that cost?
$75.
$75? Well, I'll have to look into it. Kerry's listening. He knows more about it than I do. We'll see if we can't get that set up.
But even Adam Locke is on there. He's on the bulletin board all the time. You can even write him via email on the computer.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're trying to help you up here, and I know you got listeners up here in Maryland. So.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Just in case anybody out there is hearing me tonight, send in your $1 for the catalog. It's refundable on the first order, and it tells about all of my books and tapes. And if you subscribe to either Shoestring Entrepreneur or U.S. Militia, you get 10% off on all my books and tapes. And if you would like, you can send $10 postpaid for the information packet, which includes a copy of U.S. Militia, Shoestring Entrepreneur, and Root Rot, which tells all about slavery in the 19th century from articles printed at that time. It just points out what a fraud the book Roots was and Alex Haley. And it's very interesting reading. And it's free. It's a premium. Or else you could get Keeping Score on Our Modern Prophets, which tells about all of the different weird groups that I joined during the late 50s and 60s, and more or less warns you away from them, because after all, I was right in the middle of everything. And after I had gotten all they had to teach, or said they were teaching, then I just gave them up one by one. They were all silly, but most of them were fun. But they were nothing to be afraid of. But if you'd like to read about that, you just say you want the Prophets book instead of the Root Rot. And of course, with it you'll get a certificate saying that you'll get $5 off of the subscription to either Shoestring Entrepreneur or U.S. Militia. And then again, got a special here. It's a book on tire recycling. It can put you in business right away on a weekend. You just, it tells over 50 useful and attractive projects, which, well, it has a lot to do with making money, and it's $15 postpaid. So send for it today. Hello, Kurt here.
Hey, Kurt, how are you tonight?
Not too good.
Yeah, you're getting out, but you're getting out a little bit weaker than you have been.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the transmitter. I know that.
Yeah. Well, this is Rusty from down here in Florida. I talked to you the other day.
Yeah.
We've been having some pretty severe weather down here, but it's still, like you say, it could be something with your transmitter.
Yeah.
You were talking about your tire gardens.
Yeah.
I found out another really great thing about those.
Yes.
That I haven't seen you write about them anywhere. Down here in Florida, we've been having just an ungodly amount of rain here lately.
Yeah.
And where the rest of my garden is underwater, or
yeah,
it has water standing in it.
Yeah.
To keep the tire gardens going and to keep everything from drowning out, I can go up to my tires, and I can take a shovel and kind of ease up underneath of it and raise it up a little bit, and I can actually let some of that water out of there.
Yeah. Well, of course, it does have a built-in way of, since it is above the ground, the water will drain out more than it will drain out at ground level.
Right.
But that is a good idea. You might, if you're in a real rainy area, when your garden is established, you might just lift up each edge with the shovel and put a little rock under it.
Yeah, well,
so it's about just maybe like a quarter of an inch off the ground.
Right. Well, I just went in there today and loosened them up a little bit, and it just, it really helped out, because, like I say, we've been having just some torrential rains down here.
Yeah.
Of course, our government entity that handles our water down here tells us that we're in the middle of a drought.
Yeah, well, the government is getting shakier all the time.
Yeah.
And I listen to a lot of my tapes. See, I tape just about everything on VCR.
Right.
And today I got a thing on Perot, And I listened to it today, and it had him where he was telling about where he was showing these diagrams and everything, if you remember that one.
Right.
And I was amazed at all the stuff I'd forgotten, especially the stuff about Arkansas. Well, to hear him tell it, and of course the charts prove it, there is little intelligent life in Arkansas. We're just about at the bottom on everything. And it does tell about all of the things that Clinton was going to do when he was governor, and the things that he didn't do. I mean, he said he's going to do this, that, the other thing, and he didn't, since they would have taken drastic measures to do them, which means a little money, then they didn't do anything. And then you'd wonder how come with a moron like that, I mean, all the guy is a politician. Let's face it. He's not a bad man. He's not a good man. He's an empty suit. All he wanted to do was to become president after he had become governor. See, he becomes governor, what he wanted to do, and that's all he was. He was just governor, but he didn't govern.
Well, didn't he run on the platform in his last gubernatorial election that if the people would support him and elect him, that he wouldn't run for president?
I don't remember anything like that.
I thought I heard somebody say that at one point in time.
Yes, well, he may have said that because he's never known. Well, he's the kind of guy who will tell a lie when the truth is easier.
Right.
He's a lot like some of these conspiracy phonies.
Well, he'd tell you 100 different things before he'd tell you a lie.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
But no, the guy is a real mess, and see, he was put into office. He got his $25 million to run from the homosexual community and the Hollywood crazies. And then he came up with all of these liberals. I'm going to give a paradise for both the dog and the flea. And then the morons in the country voted for him. And then Perot, he had to get in there, and he took 19% of the vote, and so Bush lost. Of course, Bush, he gave the statistics on Bush, and Bush was a senile old idiot anyway, so we haven't had anything worthwhile for president since Eisenhower.
Well, you know, rumor had it that Perot was only running to get back at Bush for some times where they'd had some business dealings in the past anyway.
Well, Perot had $3 billion, and he was trying for $6 billion.
Right.
So I didn't put a lot of... He did have the facts, though, but just because a person has the facts doesn't mean that he can govern.
Right. One more thing on your tire gardens, something that somebody else turned me on to, the fellow was from upstate New York.
Yeah.
I just heard the bell go, so I want to hurry up here.
Okay.
He told me, said that when he was a kid growing up, said that they used to take the tires, and if they would use them for decorating purposes, they would leave, like if you found a tire somewhere still on the rim,
yeah,
instead of going to all the trouble to, get it off the rim and everything, you could just cut one sidewall off of it and turn it inside out so that you had the rim on the bottom, and that would hold it up off the ground a little bit.
Yeah, well, this tire recycling has that, too.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
How much is that for subscribers?
Well, see, now the 10% off is only for the books I publish. The other books that I carry, which are many, you got to pay full price for them. But this tire recycling book is $15.
Oh, that's not one of yours?
No, I didn't publish it.
Oh, okay, I see.
No, but it's a good book, and it even supplies a saw blade.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, is that the one that shows you how to make the tire swings look like...
Yes.
No?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it will start you in business over the weekend.
Right, that sounds good. I'll have to be getting you some money out in the next couple of days then.
Okay, and it's postpaid, incidentally. If that's all you are ordering, just send in $15.
Okay.
Okay, buddy. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. Thank you, nerd.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And send in your $1 for the catalog. It's refundable on your first order. Hello, Kurt here.
Yes, Kurt.
Where are you?
I'm in New York.
Are you hearing me at all?
Yeah, real good. But I got a big radio, though.
Oh, you got a big radio.
I got a Radio Shack 392, so...
Okay.
Got, power antenna, so... But it sounds that I can't tell the difference that there's anything wrong.
Yeah, well, it's,
Just every night.
see, that's the way it's been. Even when I was on at 10 o'clock Central,
Yeah.
the people up in New York and New England, they could hear me, but I lost the South. I lost Louisiana and Texas.
Oh, you're coming great here. I didn't. If you didn't say anything, I wouldn't know there was anything wrong with your transmitter.
Yeah, well, in Arkansas, we can't hear it at all. I mean, I can tell I'm on, but I wouldn't listen to me. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, you was on Radio for Peace last night, Radio for Peace International.
Oh, I wish someone had recorded that.
Oh, I taped it, but, you know, I didn't know, you know what I did? I'm taping over it now, recording your show.
Oh, bless your heart.
I had it. I would, if you wanted, I would have gave it to you. Yeah, they talked about you, the guy from American Distant Voices, Kevin Alfred Strom,
Yeah.
and William Cooper. They said supposedly he was in jail. For some reason, he put him in jail for a couple of days or
Why
something.
did they lump me in with those others?
And Linda Thompson, yeah, they're talking, yeah.
Well, how did they lump me in with those others?
Oh, you were the first one they were talking about. They were talking about all your shows, and they said somebody called up about a firebomb, and they asked if it was in your book, and then you went into great detail in explaining how to make good ones, and
Well, you don't want to make bad ones. That's dangerous.
Yeah. But they were saying, you know, I mean, they were, they're very, like, effeminate, these kind of people, you know. They don't like any kind of fun stuff, you know what I'm saying?
They disapprove.
Oh, yeah, greatly. They were saying that it's amazing how that the WWCR keeps you on, and how, and then they were talking about American Distant Voices, too. You know, that they don't want no cursing and none, but they can put on a Nazi. That's what they were calling you. They were calling you a Nazi.
Well, I'm not a Nazi.
Yeah, well, everybody's a Nazi in their eyes.
Well, I guess so.
You know, but, yeah, they lump you in with William Cooper and everything. I mean, the way they make it sound like all you guys are pals. You, Linda Thompson, Bill Cooper, like you all go out after your shows and drink a couple of beers. They'd like, the way they lump you together, like you're all buddies.
Well, I don't dislike these people. In fact, I think that if William Cooper and I and Linda Thompson, once I could outshout her, we could have a lot of fun just shooting it. But the thing is,
they do a good commercial for you.
Yeah, I guess
if anybody likes this kind of stuff and they never heard of you, they definitely will turn you in.
Yeah.
Definitely, sure. It's like, and like I said, if I never heard of it, I would definitely be looking for you tonight on the channel.
Yeah. Well, I
it's
hope
good advertisement. You know, they explain basically everything that you do on the air, you know. So some people, I mean, they look at it in a bad light, but if you like that kind of stuff, that's a good ad for you.
Well, the left, I think, is in terrible shape. Now, when I used to be a Nazi 28 years ago, there was communist flags being carried in the streets. In fact, that's why I joined the Nazi Party and the Minutemen and the Birch Society. But now the Cold War is over, and so I'm not a Bircher or a Minuteman or a Nazi anymore. I mean, it's like you say you're in the Marines, and then you're 20, 30 years out of the Marines, you're no longer a Marine. It's as simple as that.
Well, anyway, they got on October 8th. They have they're going to have their show on at it's going to be a live call-in show. And they're going to be talking about the radical right. People are going to be calling and making comments. So. Well,
maybe I. What's the frequency?
It's I got it down here. It's let's see. They're on two stations. The one I pull in, they're on 7375.
7375.
And they're on 9375.
9375. And do you know their phone number for call-in?
No, they didn't give it yet. This is the first time they're ever going to have a live format like this, they said. But on the 7375, you might want to tune into 7385. That's how I do it. I pull it in, because 7375 is like dead.
Yeah. Well, do they have a time?
Yeah, it's, let's see, I think they said it's going to be, I don't know. So I put it down. They gave it the UTC time. It's going to be 9:30 for the East Coast.
Okay.
So, you know, they do in the UTC time, then I just count backwards, so I forgot. I don't even write it down when they say the UTC time.
So that would be 8:30 here. Okay, I sure appreciate that information, and I hope everybody will tune in.
Okay.
The few people who caught me, did you... October what? October when?
October 8th.
October 8th. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you got it, Carl. Have a good night.
Okay, bye for night. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Send in the $1 for the catalog. Another caller. Hello, Kurt here.
Hey, Kurt.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to compliment you on all that you're doing, your attitudes and everything.
I appreciate it.
I've been listening to all these other guys, you know, that propose, you know, trying to fix up the system and all.
Yeah.
And I kind of tend to agree with you. We need to get back to the old ways, just take care of ourselves.
That's right. Well, you see, the problem with them, it's not the conspiracy phonies. It's not their problem because they're all smart enough. They know what's happening, but they've got this flock. Each one of them are trying to develop a flock of sheep to shear, and they go after these people mainly with anxiety neuroses. And
Scare tactics.
These people, they can't let go of the system. They're locked into the system. They figure if the system dies, they'll die with it. And so they need the reassurance that it's not going to die. Instead, it's going to be taken over by sinister, bad people. And I say, look, buddy, don't look for that black helicopter full of UN troops to take you off to a comfortable concentration camp and feed you. No, it's going down. And if you don't learn to take care of yourself the way your great-grandparents did, you're going down with it. But they can't let go.
Yeah, I agree.
If they would read Elmer Pindel's book, Why Civilizations Self-Destruct, telling about all of the historical civilizations which died mainly because of overpopulation and downbreeding, then they would understand that the same thing is happening to us. But they want, we'll take, for instance, Rush Limbaugh's followers, a bunch of white-collar turkeys who want to be assured that their Disneyland for Dummies is somehow going to stay in there, and if they write their politicians, those are those who can write, and to the politicians who can read, that somehow they can turn things around so that things will be like they were in the 1950s. Well, those days are gone forever. We have problems that no politician will address if he wants to stay in office. No politician is going to say, look, we're going to have to sterilize everyone on welfare and kill all of these career criminals. This is the only way it could be turned around, if then. Right. But that's not going to happen. So I say it's every man for himself, and let the devil take the hindmost, and order my books telling you how your great-grandparents made it from day to day, and all of the businesses you can do, because, see, the people who survived the collapses of the civilizations in the past were those who were least dependent on the system.
That's true.
That's the only kind of people that are going to survive, and I'll be a little harsh and say that's the only kind of people that are fit to survive, because when the chaos comes, when the die-off comes, which is in a sense a culling, then our species will be greatly strengthened, and the people who survive this coming mess are not going to let it happen again, because I'm here and a few other people are here to tell them why it happened. And they're not going to let the welfare people keep having...
2 megahertz and 7.1 to 21.85 megahertz continuous. AM and FM, record timer, 20 station presets, external antenna jack, 65-page program guide, sleep timer, 2-year warranty, plus much more. Send check or money order to EIS, P.O. Box 2415-KS, Youngstown, Ohio 44509. Or for credit card orders only, 1-800-456-8770. That's 1-800-456-8770. For information, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to EIS, P.O. Box 2415-KS, Youngstown, Ohio 44509. All orders are shipped out within 1 week, and if you order now from Kurt's Show, you will receive a free AC adapter worth over $12. Thank you.
Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. You're not going to lose anything at all by sending $1. You can send a dollar bill. They won't steal that. And I'll send you the catalog. It describes all of my books and tapes, and it will give you a whole new attitude on life, because it will tell you what to do, not what to believe. You can believe anything you want, but there's nothing you can believe that's going to save you if you're not going to do anything. Hello, Kurt here.
Yes, hi, Kurt. First-time caller. I have a question for you. I think within the last several years you moved to Alpena, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in a situation now. I live in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of new to all the survivalist information, and I guess you could say I've just kind of been woken up to what's happening in this country and the trouble that our economy's in and so on and so forth, and how we need to learn to become self-sufficient. And, you know, right now I live in a suburban area.
Hang on a minute, sir.
Sure.
If you want to stay on, we're going to close down the show, but if you want to stay on and talk to him, now let me get the end of the show started.
Sure. Thank you.
Now it's sign-off time. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So this is Kurt Saxon saying goodbye and be good.